What's up? We're live. Dungeons into Asians, Gen Con Online 2020. I'm excited for Gen Con Online, not excited for 2020, but you know what? We're making the most of this. How's everyone doing today? We good?
Pretty good.
I
Just showered, so I feel very clean.
I made a huge thing of nachos, and I firmly believe that nachos are solely a vehicle for sour cream. So they were amazing.
I'm lactose intolerant. So.
Yeah, same.
Me too.
Oh no.
Well, it's actually very common, right? Adult
Yeah.
onset lactose intolerance. It's like 80% of non-Caucasian have that.
I was gonna say, like,
That's
it's
your
it's an Asian thing, and this is
Asians
Asian
represent.
Should rename it to lactose intolerance represent.
lactose
gosh.
intolerant. We can make a shirt or something off of that. Steve, how are you doing? What are you drinking right now, Steve?
I am drinking the last of our Pride Bud Light.
Nice.
Not that I particularly think that corporations and Pride really mix that well together, but I look at the rainbow hearts and it makes me feel good. Also,
Nice.
I celebrated a birthday yesterday, so that's
Your
just
your
one more-
birthday.
my birthday. One more rotation around that sun, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Not only did you celebrate your birthday yesterday, but all of us celebrated our first any win. Yeah, any gold
Yes.
for best podcast. Thank you to
Yep.
all of the fans in the community who voted for us and stood by us while
Mhm.
we had a very difficult couple months. And this is a nice positive. This showed that these kinds of stories really matter. So let's do a quick introduction to all of the folks who might not know who we are as a show, might not know who we are as individuals. We are the Asians Represent podcast. We talk about Orientalism in the gaming industry. We tell stories and we share the work of Asian creators. This is actually Dungeons into Asians, an actual play that we do using a game called Quest. Quest is a very rules light and easy to learn RPG. And while our show was originally D&D, we transferred it over to Quest because we felt like, this show was best suited to a game that would allow us to create classes and roles that were Asian. So Dungeons into Asians is not set in any European fantasy realm. It is set in the Emerald realms. It is our fantasy East Asia, South Asia, Southeast Asia, and little bits of North Asia in there as well. And our ongoing story is set in a region called the Southern Floodplains, which is currently controlled by the Empire of the Mist, the Shah. So why don't we do some introductions? We'll go Steve, Amar, Agatha. Steve,
Perfect.
who are you? We'll do character introductions a little bit later.
Okay. Well,
So
my
who are
name's-
you as an amazing person?
That's just it. I'm an amazing person. My name's Steve. I joined
What's
the
that on
Asian
your business
Represent-
card?
Yeah, it's right there. I joined the Asian Represent crew just under 2 years ago, I think. I think if I were to timeline that out, I think that's roughly when it happened. We'll look that up.
We'll
Daniel,
look
you
that up.
up.
You know what? It was a year because we met at Breakout Con 2019,
You're
and
right.
then like shortly after, I was like, man, we gotta have Steve on the show.
Yep. So I was at that panel where we were talking about Asian themes in tabletop RPGs, and I was in my Red Hood cosplay, and I'm like, Daniel, Agatha, Amar, were you at that panel? I think you were.
I believe I was, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I gushed for a little bit, and then we met at the lobby to like have some drinks and food, and we just like jived, and then Dan, you brought me on. So I'm very excited to be not only part of the crew, but part of this particular stream, because we're gonna be exploring a lot of Asian themes, and that just makes me really, really excited because this is like brand new territory for me. I play usually Dungeons and Dragons in a more Western setting. And with the help of all of y'all, I've been really expanding my horizons. What kind of stories can really be told at a table? So that's who I am. That's what's in my heart.
How about you, Amar? Who are you?
I am one of the co-hosts of Asians Represent. Very, very happy about it was such a wonderful surprise as well because yesterday was Eid, and so it was a day of celebration all around. And I'm also leading the Critical Read series on Al Qadim. This Yeah, it's hype. This sort of pan-Arabian Middle East, kind of unclear, I think is part of the point. A supplement for Dungeons and Dragons. So you can catch that every, I think, third Saturday of the month. And other than that, I am working on a currently secret game as well, which I'm very excited about too.
It's such a cool concept.
Yep.
Agatha, how about you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Agatha. My pronouns are she, her. I am one of the co hosts of Asians Represent. Excuse me. It is amazing to see where this whole community has gone to from, again, that first time when Daniel and I sat in a bubble tea shop and we're like, what if this was a podcast? And now this is just amazing. I am so happy. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to play this game that we are going to do. So
yeah, we've been talking about this for a while. This game is actually taking place at the same time as our main actual play. What we usually do for all of our live shows is we do one shots set in the same world and telling stories that take place alongside our primary characters' stories. I'm Daniel. Steve and I read Oriental Adventures, L5R. We read Orientalist work every Friday on our Twitch channel, AZNS Rep. I'm a writer, cultural consultant, and an educator. I'm also the guide, as Quest would say, or as we would say, the dramatic manager of Dungeons and Asians. Just dramatic manager wouldn't fit on the overlay, so we just defaulted to guide. But I am the dramatic manager.
And there's gonna be so much drama today.
There's gonna be so much drama, action, a little bit of mild body horror. Just a heads up for those of you who are watching. So that being said, there are a couple of things that we have to do before we start playing this game. Quest. I want us to go over our safety tools, lines and veils, things that we're going to do. We have our hard lines. So these are things that we don't have in our game. And we don't have sexual assault and sexual coercion, violence against children, slavery, and racism. We have two veils. So these are sort of like soft limits, things that are faded to black, as if this was a cable TV show. We have intense gore and sex. We're also going to be using the X card. And in terms of X carding on a live show, we're just going to throw that up there on the screen. We also use the O card to kind of show everybody else that even though we are experiencing, maybe some intense emotions, that we are okay with them and that we can continue on. We usually do like this, or like Steve said, like this. Agatha once did like a heart.
Oh, we should do hearts. We should make it hearts.
Or Steve is miming some sort of hug. That's a new one. Or it's I guess like it's gotta be a heart.
heart or bust.
All right, we heard it. There it is.
So those are the safety tools that we use. And now it's time to just start introducing our game. Are you three ready to play?
Oh my God, I'm waiting all day for this.
I'm super excited for this. I'm only now realizing that this is an opportunity where we could have brought on some additional guests, but I'm so used to playing this game with the three of you because we recorded in person. But let's get started. I'll provide a little bit of background information for those of you who are watching, and we'll get into character introductions and then go from there. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. So at this point in our world's history, all of the Emerald Realms have their eyes set on Xia, the most bold of which has been the people of Shuvu. 3 years before the coronation of Zhou Xia, the current empress of the southern floodplain, scores of autonomous nomadic clans were brought together in a powerful confederation known as the Kingdom of Birds, under a supreme leader named Gongsun the Falcon. Now, this Kingdom of Birds within Xia is referred to as the Confederacy of the Blades by the military. Gongsun's political agents spread rumors and false prophecies throughout the northern settlements of their enemy and seek to undermine and hold the hold that Zhou Xia has on the southern floodplain. So, Steve, Amar, and Agatha, you are members of Crane Corps, an Imperial Shaman task force who have been assigned to watch over the Empire to ensure that harmony is maintained within its borders. Days after Empress Josha sent a party of political agents to the town of Jinda to investigate a cosmic phenomenon, a jade shard that fell from the heavens, you have been sent north to investigate rumors of treason at the most significant fortress in the frontier, Heaven's Gate. So, before we get to more of our world, I want to introduce our characters. And we'll go. Oh, Amar, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just as a hint for anybody who hasn't caught up on the main Dungeons and Diasions continuity, the core that went to go investigate the Jade Shard is our main characters in the main feed. So definitely check that out if you want to find out how we're faring on that side.
I think you're faring all right. It's going pretty well. So let's start with Steve. Who is your character? And one of the things I love about Quest is that you're prompted on your character sheet to actually first narratively create your character before you introduce anything mechanical, which I really love. So Steve, who is your character?
Yeah, I love this. I'm just going to read my character sheet because Quest just lets you do that. So, hello, my name is Wang Chong. So my first name is, it's kind of like Chu Ong, but like you kind of like say it all together because it's like more in a Vietnamese name. So Chong. I am 20 years old, stand at 5'8", sexy. I'm the party's feng shui. When people see me, they first notice my infectious smile, my approachable demeanor, and my tendency to look off, and in brackets, at spirits. I wear plain clothes, I have thick glasses, and I move with recklessness. I'm from Song, which is the land of rivers, where people are known for farming, but my family in particular is known for papermaking. I believe in pleasure, but my fearful side can get in the way. Lastly, I dream of having a family with at least 20 kids.
Agatha's face. Damn.
Wow.
So for those of you, so for those of you who are watching, feng shui is essentially the Chinese equivalent to like an occultist, an alchemist, or even a wizard. Though one of the things that we like to do on our show is we'd like to kind of cast aside the usual roles or classes that might be prevalent in a lot of RPGs and use things that are more relevant to at least the culture that we're playing through right now. Our main game currently, and our current season, is inspired by Han Dynasty China. So, Amar, how about your character?
Amazing, because my character is kind of not from Han Dynasty China.
Yeah.
My character's name is Kayam, and his pronouns are he, him. Now, his family name is Li because his mother is from a nearby land of Desh, which is kind of a sort of analogous or kind of based on South Asia. And so he's a mixed child who's had to grow up, struggling occasionally to be accepted in the kingdom of Xia. However, his parents met, they're both traders, and so they met in a very large sort of port city where there was a lot of trade happening from all over the known world. And he set out to make something of himself. And he has worked incredibly hard to rise in the imperial court. And he is, some biographical data, about 35 years old and stands at 5'10". And he is currently the party's leader, such as it is. When people see me, they first notice my penetrating gaze. I wear noble clothes of the imperial court, but move with the grace of a warrior. And obviously, Kayam believes in loyalty, but has a strong desire to kind of overprove his loyalty a little bit. He's maybe occasionally a little more vehement in his actions in order to make sure that nobody ever questions his loyalty to the Empress of Josha. And yeah, that's the character. His secret desire is to be accepted.
Oh.
Aww.
Like all of my characters.
Like
Yeah.
I was like,
Singing
okay, so this
theme.
is very different from Waleed, and then you were like, and they're like, I just want to be accepted. I was like, oh, that's so great. Agatha, what's your character?
I'm playing He Xian. She is 20 and stands at around 5'6", and she's the party's oracle. So she I think this is very similar to Fang Shi in a way, but more along the shamanistic traditions of what ancient China used to practice. And so she does some sort of fortune telling, and she is very in tune, I suppose, with the spirit of things, with the spirit of objects, because in this land, how magic exists is that whenever an object gains consciousness, then it also starts having magical components to it. So that is kind of how He Xian is. She let's see. So when people see her, they first notice her sickly hue and dark eyes. So she's not very healthful, if you will. So
Healthful.
it's always, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, full of health. She is
Full
lower
of health.
than 10 HP.
Yes. I've been reading a lot of Jane Austen. And she wears a gray silk robe and moves with caution. She's from Lei Yue. I actually don't remember what tones it is. I'll correct it later. But which is known for jealously guarding their knowledge. So
I see what you did there, Agatha. I see what you. Oh,
I thought you were gonna read the character sheet, so I didn't bother just messaging the group. Anyway, so yeah, she's a little bit innocent of the world. She's very knowledgeable in her specific area, and so that's why she, I guess, was drafted into the Crane Corps. She believes in the sanctity of fortunes, but
Nice.
her soft-hearted side can get in the way.
Nice. That's
and
awesome.
Her dream.
Oh no, sorry. I want to hear the dream.
And her dream is to save her brother from a life of servitude to the commandment of justice.
Oh snap!
And speaking of which, I did want to clarify: are we under the Empress or are we under the commandment of justice?
The Empress. We decided that the Crane Corps would be independent of all the four dukes.
Oh, JK then. Life of servitude to the Empress.
Yeah,
because I want, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Leia is a town that actually the next town that our main heroes will be traveling to. So a couple spoilies right there.
Ooh.
I'm taking notes.
Take notes.
It didn't have to be a spoiler if you didn't say this.
Look, I was just excited, and I'm trying to contextualize my own reaction to it. All these characters sound super awesome, and I'm so excited.
Can we just go around and clarify pronouns and pronunciation?
Yeah, let's start with Steve, Amar, Agatha.
Yes. So I failed to do this, but my personal pronouns as Steve are he, him. Today I'm playing Wang, which is my character's last name. Chu Wang Chong, first name. So Wang Chong. His pronouns are he, him.
Sorry.
Okay. So I'm gonna pause here. It's a really silly name. If you are anyone who speaks English and you heard that name, it's a kind of funny name. And I didn't mean it to be, but then after I listened to it, I was like, I'm gonna keep that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, why not? Own it.
Yeah. My personal pronouns are he, him. My character's pronouns are also he, him. This is the first phoneme is one that isn't in English or in Mandarin, I think. But it's you can sort of collapse it down to like a K, KH kind of a thing. So it's Kayam. And I think in this, I just realized that Steve is playing the character I usually play, which is Waleed, who's kind of the goofball. And I am playing your character, which is be exciting. Now I get to see what the other side is like.
The stoic leader.
Yeah, but let me see if I can get your first name there. Is it Chuang?
My character's name, so Chuong, but like relax, don't sweat it. Just like let it
Okay.
flow out as one syllable. Chuong.
Chuang.
Yep.
All right.
It's Amar. It's kind of like Shuang, a character,
Whoa.
except with
Oh,
a CH.
which is another character in the main stream.
Yeah. So, Agatha, what about your character?
So my character, the family name is He, and the given name is Xian. I forgot for a second. Her pronouns are also she, her, just like mine.
My pronouns are he, him. So we've got our safety tools
And
out of the
how do you
way.
pronounce your name?
Oh,
Daniel?
Daniel. If I'm going to fantasize it, I'll put a D apostrophe annual.
It's true.
But it's just Daniel.
Apostrophe says how you make it fantasy. It's true.
Yeah. I do say this is a gag that we have from our normal show. I hate being called Dan. I hate that.
Do you? I did not
I
know
hate
that.
it.
Actually, I didn't know
I hate
this.
it. I hate being called Dan. And this is PG-13. It's Asian people never call me Dan. They always call me Daniel. So it's non-Asian people who call me Dan.
Dude, does anyone call you Danny?
Nobody's ever called me Danny.
What do you feel? How do you feel about
lived.
Danny?
But Danny's the character that I played in our Mask game. So I don't know. I don't mind. I don't mind Danny. But it's just like that's like a little far from my name. I just hate Dan.
That's
I know a lot of Daniels who feel similarly. They're not Asian. The one I worked with, he was from Venezuela, and a white coworker just kept calling him Dan, and every single time he would just look at me and be like, but we couldn't say anything because we were in a business meeting. So
Yeah,
I feel that a lot.
it's a vibe. But anyways, let's start with your mission. Your mission. So the Crane Corps, they act independently of the military in Xia. There are two main military forces within the Mist Empire. The first are the Sovereign Banner. They are the Royal Guard. They protect the capital of Chang'an. Then there's the Emerald Banner. The Emerald Banner is their main military fighting force. They lead campaigns outside the borders of Xia, and have been doing so for generations. And of course, the Emerald Banner are divided into different units. We are going to Heaven's Gate, where two Emerald Banner units, Emerald Standard units occupy. The first is the Northern Cavalry. The second are called Josha's Shield. Northern Cavalry lead expeditions into the north and Shuvu and are the shock troopers of the Empire. Josha's Shield are the main northern fighting force, famed for their hardiness. The three of you, as Crane Corps members, have received an order directly from the Empress's court. And I would assume that Kayam has received this order. There have been rumors that Chen, General of the Gates, or the Steward of the Gates, who's a decorated soldier and close ally of the Minister of War, has defied Josha's commands and temporarily opened the North Gate to Shuvu. This is something that cannot happen. There is also an odd incident that happened where the entire well at the fort, Heaven's Gate, dried up and is now inaccessible. So at the beginning of our game, at the beginning of our story, the three of you are arriving in carriage, towing enough water to at least help out the fort, enough reserves to help them out while you investigate what's going on. Now, Josha, the Empress, did not send an entire battalion with you. Doing so might indicate to folks outside of the borders that something is wrong. And that's where the cranes come in. The cranes see through the mists that shroud those who seek to destroy the empire. And you handle matters with discretion. That's how it's always been. So when you arrive at Heaven's Gate, you are immediately met with a massive stone and rammed earth fort. It kind of spans across a valley that separates Xia and Shuvu. It's got this huge stone rectangular gate with an ornate gatehouse atop it. Lookouts wielding crossbows, bows, as well as spears are seen lining the upper part. As you approach, you could hear them yell, "Visitors from the south." What do you do as the gate opens?
Are we on horseback or are we in a carriage?
Carriage.
Yeah, you're on a carriage. That is, of course, drawn by horses.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I think probably Kayam would get out first as kind of the highest ranking functionary.
Nice. As the gates in front of you rise up, there are two gates. There's a southern gate and a northern gate. The southern gate, of course, leads into Xia, and the northern gate leads into Shuvu. You dismount from the carriage and begin approaching the gate. How about Shen and Chuang?
I think getting out of the carriage makes a lot of sense. So Chung's gonna get out of the carriage, but I think he's gonna be like looking around, like what's going on here. In particular, hey, Shen, did you eat today?
Yes.
Shen, did you eat today?
I-
Hey,
Shen is kind of like leaning out of the carriage, looking just not like so carriage sick. I don't have an appetite. I can't.
so Chung takes out a steamed bun of mentao from like a bag, and he says, "Just take one bite, just one bite. You'll feel better. You'll feel better." And I think Chong is like kind of coaxing Shen like out of the carriage and what have you, but also really trying to get her to eat something today. And as he's looking around, he might like just quickly glance at Chaim and see what he's up to too.
Kayam is looking around. Has anybody come to greet us yet?
Yeah. So as this is happening, as the gates are rising, you see a single individual, human. He walks towards you. He wears fine lamellar armor. So in ancient China, they wore lamellar armor. Chainmail was never really a thing, nor was really plate at this time. He has fine matte black lamellar armor that's been stitched together with crimson red cordage. He wears a helm adorned with iridescent kingfisher feathers. And he walks towards you. He says, greetings. Welcome to Heaven's Gate. Might I ask what your business is?
Can I tell what the rank of this person is?
He
Like roughly?
is a lieutenant general. So he is
Okay.
not the leader. This is not General Chen. He says,
Okay.
I am Bin of Josha's shield.
Okay. This is of a sufficiently high enough rank for for Akayam not to feel insulted at the way an imperial guest is being greeted. So he says, Bin, thank you so much. We bring water. We heard that you had trouble with your well, and we thought that we would bring it ourselves.
He says, oh, thank you. And he actually takes off his helm as a kind of a sign of non-aggression. He has all of his like jet black hair tied up in a bun with a red cloth. It was like, tied up with a red cloth. Kind of holds it by his side. He's like, oh, thank you. Our water stores are running out. I guess word reached the capital that we needed water.
That's right. Yes.
He says, well,
I
come on
look
in.
pointedly. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. No, this is perfect.
I sort of glance over at the northern gate. It is locked currently, right?
The northern gate on the opposite side is locked.
Okay. Yeah. And I say something like, that's not the only word that might have reached us. But enough of that. Show us inside. We've been traveling for some time.
He kind of looks to you, like giving you a knowing look, and he says, yes, not the only thing. It follows me. Follow me. And he walks in at a very brisk pace. As he turns around, his cloak kind of like billows in the wind, and you could see he's got like a crossbow strapped across his lower back. He's got a pair of dao, which are like the Chinese equivalent to like a long sword, at his side. He begins to walk. As he walks into the gate, I'm assuming that you're following him.
Yep.
As
Well,
he
I
walks
walk with him. I walk side.
Oh,
by side.
you're gonna match his pace.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk side by side.
As he walks into the gate, he kind of stops just before you cross over the threshold. You get a clear look at what's going on inside. You can see soldiers kind of going about doing their duties. Things seem normal here. Except there is one thing. You notice that watching over you from the ramparts, an individual who isn't dressed like a soldier and wearing courtly garb. He kind of looks down upon you and studying you very intently. Lieutenant General Bin kind of turns to you and he says, Kayam, you are not the only visitors from the court who are here today. Be careful. Now come on in. You must be tired.
I know I raised. Yes, I know I raised my eyebrows, but Kaim betrays nothing at all.
Nice.
Just, walks in.
Then they let you in. They take your carriage, and soldiers start coming over. Now the soldiers here have different garb depending on their affiliation with the Northern Cavalry or Josha's shield. Those with the Northern Cavalry wear flexible lamellar armor with green tunics and black trim underneath. They have leather caps with pheasant feathers in them. The Josha shield soldiers wear heavy scale armor that kind of resembles like the scales of a fish. They wear red tunics with white trim underneath. Several Josha's shield soldiers come up and begin helping you take all of the water out of the cart. One of them kind of looks in and he like dips a small bowl that he pulls from his belt and he drinks a little bit of the water. He goes, oh, whew. You came at the right time. Thank you. And they begin to continue taking out this water.
Yep. I think did Kaim hear that? He'd kind of walked away, right?
I think
or was that more for Chuang and Xian?
This is more for Chuang and Shen.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't see a reason why we should stop them. These people, they didn't have water for maybe days, so this makes a lot of sense. And I think Chuang is going to try his best to like help them. Like, oh, do you need an extra hand kind of filling your buckets, your basins, and what have you? Yeah.
They look at this, say, oh. They see your garb and they know who you are.
Yeah.
They say, oh, no. This is not befitting of the Crane Corps. We can do this.
And Chong says, title aside, your people, your families, I'm sure that's been a very tough couple of days. Hey, why don't you go grab some men, some women? We'll go bring this into the center of town and we'll make sure that we can make sure everyone has the water that they need.
He says, oh, my family is fine. He says, our families are in a nearby town. They do not stay with us here. We rotate off shift here. This is a fortress. This is not a place for our partners and our children.
I see.
So there's just no water here?
Yes, just here. But I do not have enough rank to lead you through, but if you ask Lieutenant General Bin, he may be able to provide you with more details, but there is something very wrong with the well. And the well is not dried, by the way. Something is growing out of the well.
Mystery deepens.
Have you seen it? Do you know what this is?
You hear a voice behind you. And you say, we've all seen it. And a grizzled veteran kind of walks forward. He says, greetings. This is Kai Chi. I'm the commander of the Northern Cavalry. You could tell by the wear on his armor that he has been here for a long time. But he moves with this like relentless focus. He still has a lot of energy. He's still got the spark of a soldier inside of him. And we've all seen it. Yes.
Kai Chi, is that is that family name given name, or is that
Yes.
one name? Okay. So Chi is the first name, and then
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can call him Commander Chi if you'd like.
Commander Chi. Okay.
No, wouldn't it be Commander Kai?
Commander Kai.
I guess you'd be Commander Kai, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I got the Star Wars in my head. Commander Cody.
Oh, Commander Kai. Well, I think you can tell that we come from the south. You can call me Chong. This is Shen.
Greetings.
Greetings. It seems that you have much more context to the logistical needs here. I was going to just dole out water to those who need it, but I defer to your expertise in this.
He says, which one of you is in charge?
Our boss has gone inside to speak with Bin, I believe.
Bin,
General Bin.
yeah.
Yeah. And we are here simply carrying out the orders to make sure that your fortress is well watered.
All right. Well,
That's a smile you can't trust. That's what that is.
that's a smile you can't trust. Follow me then. He leads you through the fortress. Nothing really looks out of the ordinary here. The horses seem well fed. Their grain stores, they've got enough grain to feed them for years. They're not short on food. Sold morale seems, all right. But he leads you to the center of the fortress. It's kind of off from the main road, which leads north-south, and protected within a large stone structure. And it's the well. 2 guards, Josha's shield, stand outside. They salute to him, and they open the door and allow him to go in. He says, after you.
Thank you. And I think Chong has like a moment just to kind of like stares off into space a little bit. Chong is able to sense magic generally. It's usually like it's one of Chong's abilities. He feels it. The book says feels it in the bones, but I want Chong to feel it kind of like a pressure in the chest. So like, is there any pressure in the air here?
Yeah, like as you kind of move towards the threshold of the door, you feel as though there's somebody literally pressing you back on your heart. Like an oppressive magical force.
So Chong doesn't want to like reveal his hand right now, and he says, Shen, let's proceed. There's an air about here that makes me think that we can do a lot of good for these people. A very heavy air about this.
Oh, I see. Let's go then.
Okay. So for those who are watching, and you might be accustomed to games like like D&D or anything like that, a game like Quest really involves dice rolling when we really need it. All of our characters have different abilities, and these abilities let us do instantaneous things or anything like that. So anytime you folks want to use an ability, please let me know. When you step through the threshold of the door, the ground, which was like a well-trodden gravel, all of a sudden feels squishy beneath your feet. There's this moist sound underneath your feet, as if you have just walked into a moss-covered forest in the south during the rainy season. There are no lights in here. Commander Kai behind you says, we did not want to light any lanterns in there.
I'm sure you had a great reason, but I'm new. Could you maybe elaborate? Hey,
we
hey,
didn't
hey.
want to have to look at it. And he pulls out, he motions for a soldier a runner who runs forward, passes him a lantern. He says, "Here," passes you the lantern.
And hesitantly, Chong kind of like reaches out for it. It's like slow and full of like trepidation. But eventually he'll take the lantern and then he will slowly kind of guide it to that darkness.
And as you enter the darkness, you see, a sturdy but ancient well. This is one of the first things that was built here. And growing out of the well appear to be like crimson roots. Thin like threads, but they wind and twist around each other, and they grow out of the well like a flower pot, snaking around the ground. It's at this moment that Shen, I'm assuming you're still kind of outside. You could see that these growths actually seem to be penetrating the walls of this stone building and are slowly snaking out. Some of them go like snake in and out of the dirt and the gravel, but they seem to be taking over this entire stone building.
I crouch down to study one of these branches, and I lean very close. Does it smell like anything?
It smells like death.
It smells like death.
Yeah.
Chong.
It smells like the worst battlefields you could ever be a part of.
Yeah, and I turn to Chong and I say that. It smells like death and decay in here. Do you smell it? It smells like rotting flesh. This smells like rotting flesh.
And Chong kind of like swallows deeply and like is very disturbed by the scene. And he says, I can feel it. We
And as you kind of come to this, as you're having this conversation, Chuang, you feel something running up your leg. And one of these vines or roots begins snaking around your leg, running up your body very slowly. What do you do? Steve shuts off Zoom. And
I just like So I think these are like a moist vine that like comes
It's
out
moist.
of like, the earth. I think this is kind of like instinct. Chong wants to like just use his magical inclination to just like lash out, just like something to just make that distance between Shen and this vine here. He's going to use his telekinesis.
Okay.
So telekinesis, it's 1 AP. I can move an object or creature no larger than elephant. Shen is smaller than elephant, so we're good here. And I just want to just push her away from the well, just shove her away.
Oh, you want to like whoosh, like force push yourself away.
Her away, yeah. From like this threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so you're pushing Agatha's character.
Yes. So this vine.
Yeah, I'm still crouched on the ground, smelling this vine.
Yeah.
What's this?
Wafting.
Yeah.
Sorry, science class.
Yeah, so it's actually after. Oh, yeah, don't snip directly. But actually, Chong's going to actually use telekinesis on Agatha's character Shen to push her away from the well.
Hey, Agatha, could you roll to see how your character reacts to this? So in Quest, we just roll D20s. That's the only die that you use.
Single D20.
A single D20, there is flat damage. So conventional weapons deal like 2 damage. And it kind of scales depending on the nature of the creature or the magical weapon or anything like that. So Agatha, give it a roll.
Okay. That's a 19.
A 19. That's a success. So Agatha, that signifies that Shen does not get toppled over by this telekinetic push. How do you react to this?
Did she
Oh,
notice the tendril crawling up the leg?
That's up to Agatha.
Oh, okay.
I think Agatha's character was distracted by the by
the
sniffing
stench.
the stench of death and battlefields.
Quite overwhelming. Yeah, I don't think I noticed anything really. I only turned to say that thing, and then I'm like looking back and I'm like, huh, this is so strange. And then suddenly, I guess it's like I'm like,
Okay.
and I think I actually get probably pushed out of the room, or at least to the where like the doorway is.
You might get pushed even into the courtyard. Because if it's
Yeah.
enough force to, and I think, Steve, you said this was just like an instinctive, like, get out of here sort of thing. I'm under the impression that Trong wasn't holding back.
This was
Yeah.
this is action out of fear, I think.
Yeah, and I think the reason why I didn't topple over is because I bump into someone, and they cushion my fall.
So you get pushed back by Trong and you slide backwards through the courtyard, and then you bump into what's going to be let's say you bump into a horse.
Oh.
You bump into a horse, and all of the soldiers draw their swords at once. Not at you, but like they think something's going on because you've just flown out of this dark stone structure. Is everyone okay? And I don't even think Shen knows what happened.
Yeah, I'm looking at the horse. The horse is looking at me.
Yeah, and Chong just runs out of the area, runs to where Shen would be, and just like has like that pale like terror, just reacting just on instincts right now.
So as you're running, this thing comes with you.
Oh.
As you run out of the stone building, this thing comes with you. And as you get to Shen, it stops. And the entire, be it a root or a vine, is taut at an instant, almost as if it is a crimson thread clinging onto you. You could feel it clinging onto your clothing.
So does it stop Chung from like leaving the building?
You could feel a little bit of it, and it's trying to hold on to you, and it's pulling you back.
Screw that. Chung says, Shen, check your leg. Did it get you?
What?
Nothing.
And I'm looking at my legs. There's nothing there. And I like kind of like lift up both feet, and I'm like, what?
Oh, good. And slowly Chung is being like pulled like back, I think, by these spines. So she's like, oh, you're safe.
It's like it's pulling at your clothes like this.
Yeah.
But it's not physically powerful enough to pull you.
Yeah. So Chung wears generally like loose fitting, very comfortable clothing. So at this point, he's just like relieved. The adrenaline has kind of come down a little bit. And he doesn't even notice that his pant leg is just being like pulled back towards the building here.
Commander Kai kind of looks and says, Trong, there is something on you. He draws his dao. It's got like a ring pommel.
Oh, this is... Huh. Hey, sorry, but Commander Kai, before you do that, Shen, I think it's okay. I think this is not too dangerous.
Famous last words.
Agatha, you're muted.
Okay. And I'm walking forward, like following you as you're being pulled back a little. And I'm like, oh, it's a thread.
Yeah. Are you? I was a little rough there. I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Of course I am. And I'm going to go and crouch down by your
leg.
And, yeah, and just like check out this thread. vine.
At
How
the end
thick is
of
it?
it's like but as like thick as like my pen.
Okay.
Ooh, at this point, it's all stretched out.
Ah,
I have
You
to
can
say,
see it.
Shan is the perfect like adventurer PC. There's absolutely no sense of self-preservation here.
Oh,
amazing.
what's this? Um,
this house is haunted. Let's go in.
I heard this house is haunted. Let's go see if that's true.
Yeah, and I think what I I actually reach out and just like touch it, and I would like to also use one of my moves. I would like to
Oh, yeah.
spend
An adventure point.
an adventure point, which I start with 10.
You start with 10. Yeah, every character starts with 10 HP and 10 AP, which are adventure points that you can spend to use your abilities, which are basically instantaneous effects.
Great, and there's like a moment of connection that I feel with this plant where so the move is called impression, where I brush against the creature for a fleeting moment, feeling its desires. So you, the guide, sorry, the dramatic manager, you can choose and reveal to me something specific that the creature routinely craves, and then I become cursed to also crave that thing, so on.
Oh, dope. So you touch this for a fleeting moment, and in your mind, you feel hunger. You feel hunger. You feel the need to control others in order to satiate your hunger. And as you draw your finger away from touching it for that fleeting moment, it branches off. And you feel a sharp pain in your finger. As you pull it away, this thread draws out onto your finger. And you could see that there is some sort of sharp mouth at the end of it, clinging onto the flesh of your bare hand. And it draws a little bit of blood. And as that droplet of blood drips down your finger, it's sucked back in.
I look up at Chuang. Think it's alive.
You hear Commander Kai say, "I've heard enough!" Takes his sword and he chops into the thread and it snaps. Whatever was on you instantly lets go. You have now like a small open wound. It's not enough to lose a hit point, but a small open wound on your finger. It lets go of your clothing, your tunic, Steve, and it falls to the ground and kind of like shrivels up in the sunlight. Agatha, since you formed like a bond with it, you hear like a sound in your mind. You hear like a hissing in your mind.
Like a pained hissing?
A pained hissing, yeah. Now, I want to cut to Chaim.
Chaim, who's having a feast, or
Yeah. So in this moment, Chaim has entered the quarters of Lieutenant General Bin. He kind of sets down his helm. He has very well kept quarters. He looks like he's got like weapons all over the walls, but he also has a nice, beautiful table. And his what would be the equivalent to like his squire, his assistant, has set out and prepared tea. Lays down his helm and kind of sits down with his armor. He says, "Join me."
Yep, Chaim goes and sits down.
He says, "We have had a number of issues here, and I hope that my speaking out of rank will not make it back to the Empress or the Minister of War."
Chaim just nods.
He says, "Something is wrong with General Chen." He says, so you've already indicated that you were here for other reasons, and I would assume it was because of the illicit opening of the North Gate.
I may have heard something about that.
Yes, and well, of course, the problems that we're having with the growth coming out of our well. Some strange plant. We think we have sealed it off, but right now we are mainly getting water from the local town nearby, and it's, well, not that efficient, and our stores are running out. So I thank you for bringing that water. That will not only help us, but help the people of the town. Something is wrong with the general. 2 days ago, he ordered for the gate to open.
And this order was executed.
Yes, of course. Look, General Chen is highly respected. He reports directly to the Minister of War. He's fought in many battles, has proven himself to be loyal to Xia, which is why I choose to speak to you privately. He opened the gate and allowed travelers from Shuvu to pass through here into Xia.
Travelers pass through.
Yes, performers, dancers.
Kayam
Sips his tea.
Yep. Sorry, so Kayam has learned from sort of long experience that sometimes you get more by letting people talk themselves out than actually asking penetrating questions. So he just sort of sips his tea as well in sync with the bin and says, traveling dancers, dance troupe perhaps.
Yes.
Sorry, I need to interrupt for my own like theater of mind. Amar, can you describe if Kaim has a beard and what that beard might look like?
Because Amar, you're doing the
like I apologize, but like I need this.
Yeah, that's fascinating. I guess he would have a close crop beard, like closer crop than mine, but it would be probably reasonably thick, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Just like a super well maintained, like well oiled beard.
Very well. Yeah. And it smells good. Like he uses like scented beard oil.
Bin also has a small like a little chin beard and a well kept mustache. So you're both going. As you sip your tea. And he says, "Oh, look. Yeah, General Chen opened the gate and no one dared question him. But when he let those performers come through, that troupe, and let them just go into Xia, we all thought that was a little odd. The Empress herself said that north gate should never open. And yet it stood open for over 2 hours.
And this dance troupe, did anybody see which way it went after, or?
We are not supposed to really leave the fort.
What did the sentries see? Which direction?
Well, we believe they're traveling south to the capital.
To the capital.
Yes. We have informed Jing of that, and Jing was supposed to have sent word to the shadows.
Ooh, okay. And this is Jing of Jingda?
No.
Or no, this is somebody else. Okay.
He had Jing. I haven't given you any information as to who he is other than a name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you sent word to Jing.
Yes, Jing is the official representative of the Minister of War here. Two and two together. Jing is the person in the court outfit who's watching over everything.
Thank you. Okay. Does it seem like he's sharing any more information, or is this? I
don't think he knows much more.
Okay. I turn on soul gaze on him. That's my ability.
Nice.
So I'm gonna roll a d20. Well, let me, I guess, roll it first, and then we'll describe it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got a 5.
Okay, so a 5 is a failure.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Yeah, so a 1 to a 5 is a failure in quest, and then a 6 to a 20 is a success on, different conditions.
So I will describe the ability and then
Yeah.
its thing if you like. Kaim's eyes turn completely black, like shimmering gateways to eternity, as they stare into the eyes of Bin. Bin becomes momentarily transfixed by my gaze, and if I had succeeded, would have shared more information, even things that perhaps were secrets even to himself. But instead, I failed, and so the response is Bin resists my invasion and briefly glimpses my recent thoughts.
He kind of like steps back, he puts down his tea without even he doesn't even pause. He just puts down his tea and he says, "You don't trust me."
Kayam continues seating. He remains seated, and he just sort of calmly continues to drink his tea. And he says, "There has been something that happened in this fortress that was against the Empress's orders. I am loyal to the Empress. I am here to find out what happened. Now, you've told me one version of the story. I need to know the other version from, sorry, what was the person's name? Admiral Chen?
No, oh, General Chen.
Sorry, General Chen. I need to know General Chen's side of the story before I can have any opinions one way or the other. Where is he?"
In his quarters.
"And where are his quarters?"
Would you like to come with me to see?
"Lead the way." And this time he does not walk side by side with him.
He leads you and he begins walking, and as he gets to the door, he opens it a little bit and he turns his back, and with his back to you, kind of turns his head, and he says, "If you ever question my loyalty to the Empress, I'll cut you down in front of everyone." And he opens the door and just starts walking.
Oh, good, yeah. If there was a brief moment there, Kayam had smiled.
Yeah, let's have that.
Yeah, it's just as he had said those words, Kayam had smiled.
Cool, like a bring it on.
Yeah, basically, yeah, like a bit of a shit-eating grin. Yeah, a bit like, one, I'd like to see you try, kind of a smile, and two, you can't touch me. I'm part of the Crane Corps, kind of a smile.
I'm untouchable.
And three, a little bit like, that'd be an interesting new experience. So let's, so just complete the confidence of somebody who's very skilled in a variety of ways. Okay, so yeah, I enter into General Chen's quarters.
Yeah, so he leads you. You're in the barracks, which is a large building. It's got multiple floors, and at the topmost floor is where the commanders all stay. Mm-hmm. And the very end of the stone corridor is the general's quarters. He leads you in, knocks. You hear a "come in," like kind of almost like a labored sound,
mm-hmm.
or at least voice without any sense of urgency, like "come on in."
Right.
And
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, he opens the door. He kind of goes, "General, I have Kayam here. He comes from the capital on behalf of the Empress."
Kayam cuts in and says, "I brought water for some of your men. I heard that you had some issues. May we speak?" And Kayam subtly tucks his Jian, his straight sword, sort of a bit behind, so it's not completely at his side and it's not so visible.
Mm-hmm. And he kind of he turns and he says, "Come in."
What do I see?
His quarters are lavish, but not in excess. It's what you would expect of a veteran of many campaigns, a general of his status, as well as someone who is as well connected to the capital and the leadership of the empire as he.
Right. So it doesn't look like he just recently got a huge bribe or anything.
No. You could see that he's got blades from different cultures, suits of armor from different military campaigns, trophies of war.
Fascinating.
And he He says, sit. Asks you to sit. And Bin kind of says, shall I stay, General? And he says, just motions for him to go nonchalantly. Just get out of here. And bows and leaves and closes the door. As he closes the door, you can see that he's kind of looking in, very concerned at you.
Mhm.
The door closes.
So Kayam actually doesn't sit down. He sort of wanders around a little bit, examining the various artifacts in this person's room, both to get a sense of the person, and then also to be like, to kind of establish kind of that, you're not really in charge of me.
He kind of looks and he says, you say you're from Chang'an.
I am. The Empress herself sends her regards. You have a difficult post here, protecting all of Xia from the Confederacy of the Blade.
And says says they call themselves the Kingdom of Birds. My soldiers, they call them the Confederacy of the Blades. He says, yeah, you say you come from Chang'an, yet you introduce yourself with no rank. Who are you?
I am Kayam, Lee Kayam. Does he know about the Crane Corps? And
He should, yes.
Yeah, Crane Corps are like an open secret, right?
Mhm.
So he said, I look into matters for the Empress occasionally, and I sort of let that sort of hang in the air for a moment, and then I point to one of the suits of armor. Is there one there that's from the Confederacy of the Blade?
Yeah, the suit of like leather armor.
Leather armor.
It's got like a big slash down the chest, and it's stained brown.
Oh shoot. Okay. So yeah, I come sort of stand in front of it and look at it and say, oh, this is a most interesting specimen. This warrior of the Confederacy of the Blade must have died valiantly.
He says, well, sure, valiantly. He says, now, you say you're of the Crane Corps. Can I see your command token?
Kayam turns around. He sort of readjusts his GN to the side again to sort of show it, and his like little cloth purse is next to it, and he sort of makes a show of showing a GN that has probably has an insignia of either the Crane Corps or maybe even the Imperial Court, while he's looking for
Up to you.
Yeah, I think it would be an Imperial Court to indicate my status in the court, not just the Crane Corps, I think. And so, probably, like the seal of probably not the Empress, but like of the royal court, and like pulls out a command token and shows it to.
Yeah, he says, yes. He looks at it. He just drops it down on the table.
Mhm.
He goes and he sits down and begins reviewing all the documents that he has on his tables. Maps of the area, everything like that. It looks as though he's just like very lazily preparing for some sort of campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like this is a show.
Right. I'm just gonna try the soul gaze again. That worked so well for me last time.
It worked so well.
But hey, it's all in the roll, isn't it? So yeah, I'm gonna try that again. Let me roll one more time. Got an 18 this time.
Nice, that's a success.
That is a success. So my eyes, while he's turned away for a moment or whatever, I noisily pick up the command token, tap it a couple of times to try to catch his attention and have him turn around. And when he does, he gazes into my fully jet black eyes and is transfixed. I learn their ideal and their flaw.
His ideal is that he will do anything to protect the Empress of Xia and the kingdom, the empire in and of itself. The Southern Floodplain is his home, and he will do anything to keep it safe. His flaw is that there's another voice in his head, a competing ideal. That the gate must be open again, and that, well, members of the Chang'an court are snakes that need to be beheaded.
Oh ho 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 ho.
Yeah, so that's what you get.
Hearing voices in your head. What a mood.
I'm gonna go back and put the spotlight on Steve and Agatha now. That you have time to kind of think of like, well, what am I gonna do next?
Yep. Well, it's a good moment.
Actually, I do want to tell you one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
You said that he had his back turned to you for a moment, and then you caught his attention with the token as you wrapped it upon the table, and then your eyes met. When his back was turned to you, you noticed that he had a red thread braided within his hair.
Oh. Okay, but I don't know what this is because I wasn't investigating the well. So
yeah. So let's go back to the well.
Very poignant.
So I think we had left the well with like that ribbon being cut by Commander Kai.
Yeah.
And I think Chong looks to Shen and says, we need to find Chaim right away.
Are you smelling it again?
Oh, I'm looking at it.
Okay. It's all like shriveled up. And I mean, in the sunlight, this whole thing, it looks like it's made of muscle, like shriveled up tendon.
I pick it up.
Yeah, as you pick it up, it's like limp and a little like dry.
Yeah, and I nod. Start heading off. I start heading off.
Where do you head?
Towards wherever Chaim was.
You would head towards the barracks, and Commander Kai says, "Shut that door," and they shut the door again.
And kind of like as they're not probably not running, but like speed walking, and Chung like has urgency in his step. He makes it a point to say, "Did you see or feel anything inside that building?" I did.
What did you feel?
It's not good. I felt a pressure. There's a lot of spiritual energy in that building. I could feel it pressing me, crushing me.
Like the feeling of wanting to control something? And I'm kind of like looking into your eyes while still holding this.
Kind of. It didn't feel that way to me. It felt just like wanting to. Control's too soft a word. It felt more malicious. More. I felt like it wanted to hurt me.
You hear like heavy footsteps behind you as Commander Kai is speed walking towards you. Can one of you explain what's going on?
Chung doesn't respond.
You just keep walking?
Yeah, just keep walking.
Do you even know where you're going?
Oh, I'm turning around. Well, this thing is in the well, and we have to do something about it.
What shall we do? Shall we torch the well? Shall we?
You cannot, but we shall.
All right. Well, he kind of looks a little dejected because now he just seems like he feels powerless.
Yeah. I think Chung puts a hand on Shen's shoulder and just squeeze it with an affirmation, yeah, this is good. This is good. And he's smiling. And then he looks to Commander Kai and says, we need to find our boss. Where can we find Bin and Chaim?
Well, I believe he might have been at the. Well, he might have been in Bin's quarters, but we can always check there.
Then we should do it twice as fast.
So you run through the barracks. Soldiers, salute and bow and get out of the way as you run through the various floors of the barracks. Knocks on Bin's door. Yes, come in. He opens the door, and you see Bin just kind of sitting there. He seems to be looking over documents as well. plans of the entire fort.
Commander Bin, we are so sorry to interrupt. I know you're very, very busy, but there's a matter to which you attend.
He says, "Are you looking for your leader?"
Yes, it's
Kayam is in General Chen's quarters. General Chen did not want any visitors.
I see. Thank you. And Chung, I think, looks to Shen and like kind of shrugs. Should we? Commander Bing, how much experience have you with the creature in the well?
He says, "So it's a creature."
That's my current hypothesis, but we know very little about this.
Look, I've fought off many attacks from the nomadic clans, and, well, perhaps we will lead a campaign north before I retire. But I have never fought any monsters before. Says the demons, anything like that, they were sealed away by the four nobles generations ago.
I see. Well, in that case, I wish you the best. I hope there are no monsters in your future, but this is urgent. We need to find Chaim right away.
Go ahead. He says he is just down the hall at the very end.
Thank you.
I walk out holding the thing.
You're still holding the thing, yeah.
And I think Chung looks to Shen and says, "This is so wild. This is. Are you okay? Let me see your hand. Are you hurt? No, I don't care about this. Is your hand okay? Are you bleeding?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I think when the blood came out, it kind of sucked it back in.
Okay. Okay. That's different.
See, look at this end. It has a little mouth. Right here. Right?
Yeah, I see it. Let's just okay. Yeah, good. Okay. I got really scared there, and I'm really sorry if I kind of acted impulsively. I don't want you to get hurt. Okay?
I like that you care about me.
Oh,
So,
Thanks.
So are you heading to the general's quarters?
I think so.
So as you're heading to the general's quarters, I want to go back to Waleed.
not Waleed.
Sorry, you're not
Kayam.
Waleed. You're Kayam. That's your other character. Dang it. You're still you're locked in that soul gaze.
Yep.
And
For the moment.
For the moment. And as it ends, your eyes go back to normal and his gaze is no longer fixed to you. And he kind of looks to the ground, standing still. At this moment, the door opens. And Trong and Shen come in through the door. The three of you united as you see this, like the general kind of standing there with his head bowing down.
And I think Chong has this a split second where he it looks like he's going to just run and just embrace Chaim, but stops mid-step, takes a deep breath, and just like bows like a soldier would.
How about Shen?
I think I turn and see. I see Chong's reaction.
So in the moment that your eyes have taken your eyes off of him, Trong, as you come rise up from your bow, you see the general, sword drawn, about to strike down Kayam from behind. What do you do?
Sorry, from behind. Kayam?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'm assuming you've turned to
Yeah,
face your colleagues if they hadn't turned.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried. Well, I looked at them. Yeah.
Yeah, you looked at them, and he's taking
Yep.
this time to pull out his Dao.
Okay. Um, if so, yeah, there's no initiative order in this game.
There's no
right?
initiative order. It's very reflexive.
Okay. In that case, I think that as soon as the door burst open and like people came into the room, I think what would happen is there's sort of a small, like kind of like brass knuckles that Kaim has on him, that he
Mhm.
sort of instinctively went for them, grabbed them, and activated his shield.
Oh, nice. So you pull up your shield.
Yep.
Because you think you're being attacked, maybe.
Well, or just there's a lot of like chaos happening immediately. Instinctively, he activates his shield.
Mm-hmm. Chong, what are you doing?
I think this is another moment of just like instincts, like feel your way through the situation. I think Chong wants to send just kind of energy and force to neutralize the commander here, or general. I'm sorry.
Yeah, get it right. It's a general.
It's a general. So the magic that Chong can do is really based on spirits that are around. So Daniel, can Chong see like any spirits here that could potentially like help channel some of this energy?
Ooh, in
Yeah,
any of the artifacts.
The spirits of all of the soldiers that he's killed, all of their trophies, every single one of them.
Oh, so
Now, are those spirits that you would want to harness against him?
yes.
Okay.
I'm looking for something that's going to be anti this general. So I'm going to use my magic strike, but I'm going to overload it. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 AP.
Mm-hmm.
And as I do that, I'll be making an attack roll.
Yep.
Oh, no, it hits the target automatically.
No, it just hits and deals 4 damage.
So it's going to deal 4 damage. And I think for anyone who's sensitive to spirits, I think the spirits all recognize Chong. And I get like this, I'm picturing like Shaman King, kind of like a deep breath. And I think Chong shoots out his hands and just like maybe an invisible wave of force with all of these dead soldiers kind of like lending their strength to it. And just like a wave of force, I think heads towards and hurls towards the general.
Yeah, literally, like you see like waves of force, almost like you know how if you look at like Chinese or East Asian art in general, this is like a motif that you see. You see waves or wind or clouds. You see these like magical well, only you could see these magical clouds shoot forth from all of these trophies of war, and they fly towards General Chen. Kayam, you feel like this breeze brush by you. And in a moment you hear slam as General Chen smashes against the back wall of his quarters. Sword clatters to the ground. He gets up and he yells, "Treason!" What are we doing?
I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I think Kyan snaps to Xian, bar the door. And you don't have to do that, but that's what he says.
Shen, what do you do?
I think I bite my thumb so that it bleeds just a little bit, and then I'll draw a sigil in the air.
Ooh.
Because that's how I think I do a lot of my. I'm calling from my essence to the essence in the air to draw a sigil.
Are you going to use the sigil ability?
Yes, I am.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm going to draw the sigil so that.
Should you use repel?
Yes, I'm going to repel any person who approaches this.
So you draw a sigil on the door. Is it a word? Or is it more like a food talisman, or is it just like a word?
I think it can, like, if you parse it, it is actually a word. It looks very like calligraphy, but it's definitely like an older language than what is commonly used right now.
Right. So, what word do you write? What is the one word that you write? I'll put you on the spot. It could just be repel.
Or
It's
maybe
up to you.
Like sanctuary.
Sanctuary.
I think it's the word for turtle.
Ooh. Oh, so you know how like Chinese characters they have like the early Shang Dynasty like oracle
Yes.
bone inscriptions that are more
Yes.
pictographic, and then you have the contemporary Chinese ones. It looks like a
Yes.
more pictographic look.
Yes.
So if you're in the audience, and you could always just go on your favorite search engine, and you can look up Shang Dynasty. Shang is how like you would Westernize it. Shang Dynasty oracle bones. And you could see all of the different kinds of writing that evolved into what you know as Chinese writing. So you write the sigil for turtle on the door,
Yes, I do.
and the door whoosh, shuts, and you can hear slamming on the door as they can't get through. You see that they take their dagger axes, which are like a kind of pole arm, and they begin smashing at the door, and you can see the blades kind of come through the door as the door begins breaking down slowly, but they still can't get through. That sigil remains in the air no matter how many blades pierce the sigil.
That's so cool.
What are you doing, Amar? What is Kayam doing?
I
You,
think
you shouted bar the door. Trong has just like slammed General Chen, which is, I mean, that is technically you have assaulted a commanding officer.
Yep.
So what are you doing?
I think he advances on the general. Kaim gets closer to him, kicks when he gets close enough. He kicks the sword that he had been using as Dao out of the. I guess he would have been at. We would have had a Dao, right?
Is a Dao, yeah.
He kicks it away from his reach, and sort of comes up closer to him. Does he do anything or react? Or
Yeah,
is
he was like
kinda
reaching
winded?
for his Dao as you like kick forward. But he's kind of like he's kind of winded, and he goes, "I'll kill you. The gates must be open."
Kaim, again, cool as a cucumber through all of this, says, "Why must the gates be open?
It said so.
It who?
This is the Ba. It said so.
What's a ba? Or does Kaim know, or can I
Do you think
roll,
any of
or-
your characters? I mean, you would all hear this. Do you think any of your characters would know about mythology or anything like that? If not, you could even try to roll to see if you can recall something. Agatha says, "Yes, I would know."
I come from scholars. I can roll. That's up to you.
No. If you come from scholars, I think you would know. The Ba or Ba snake is a mythical snake. Said to be so large, it would be like 600 feet long and can swallow elephants. It's said that Hoi, the god of archery, killed a Ba snake in honor of Chang'e, his wife. And they built a temple. One of the temples of Xia was built over the body, the carcass of a Ba.
Wait, this is
Oh,
this a
so
real
it's a
thing from
snake.
Chinese mythology?
Yes, it's a real thing.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah. It comes from a book called the Shanhai Jing, the classics of the classics
Shout
of
out to the
mountains.
side.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Shanhai Jing.
Well, it's a real fake thing.
It's the OG Chinese monster manual.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so giant snakes. All right, I'm down to fight giant snakes. So at that note, well, do you want to? Does Xian kind of fill us in quickly? It's like the ba is a snake or whatever.
It's a snake. It's very big. It eats people.
At that, finally, Kayam does actually something kind of aggressive and takes out his Jian.
Yeah, draw your Jian from its elegant sheath.
Where is this ba snake?
He looks. He says, "I am the Ba. It's in me. It is in Heaven's Gate."
Chuang Xian, have you seen any sign of this snake?
He's this like little shriveled up thing.
Boss, it's in the well. I think it's what's causing all of this.
Okay. I will I assume there's probably a whip on the wall somewhere. I'm gonna,
Sure.
or is there 50 feet of rope? Can I just tie up the general? Is, I guess my
Yeah,
question.
you could chain him up if you want. Yeah, there's probably rope here.
Chain. I
There's
like it.
certainly a whip.
Yeah, I sort of signal to Chuang that like I sort of grab some of this and pass it off to Chuang to tie him up with.
He tries to fight against you.
Yep.
It's this is like a difficult action, but he fights and struggles against you. But you tie him up. He seems weaker than a general of his accolades.
Mm.
And you tie him up and kind of sit him down. At this time, the door is just gone. There's this like shimmering field that emanates from this turtle sigil in the doorway. You see the soldiers kind of like soundlessly like banging against the force field.
Huh.
So dope.
You
When
can
you're
see
tying-
like Commander Kai is just like trying to shoulder slam into it.
Okay, and so the sound doesn't pass through, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I after the general has been sort of sorry, does Chuang happen to see the red thread in the hair when he's tying him up?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you could always roll to do it, or you could. It's up to you.
I think Chong is in a very like high energy state,
Yeah.
and if there's any going to be action, it's going to be checking in on Chaim.
After the general has been sort of calmed down and has sat down, Kaim comes over and like sticks something in his mouth so he can't speak anymore for the moment,
Mhm.
and indicates to Xian to drop the shield.
Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
'cause sound
Shen,
can't
are
travel
you-
through, and well, so anyway, let's see what happens.
Shen, are you going to listen to this order?
When you say that, well, I can't. It's there's a time limit.
Is this you as Shen or Agatha?
This is me as Shin.
Okay.
Well then, let's have some tea.
Ooh,
Yeah.
nice. So
he's a
it's-
professional.
He's a professional. He sits down and you have tea, and the general kind of like looks at you with like he's got this like his he had these like apathetic sort of eyes before, and now he's just rage. He's just looking
Right.
at you.
And everybody outside can see that we've just this is in full
Yeah.
view of them. We are sitting down. We are having some tea.
Mhm.
I'm hoping that they'll be a little calmer when they come through the door finally.
So what are we gonna do? Chong, what are you gonna do?
Boss said have tea. So Chong, sits with the rest and like cup shaking. Like this is like the adrenaline's still like going, but Chong is like trying to drink tea. And I think there might be a moment where he says, he might even try to like reach out and like put a hand on Kayam's like shoulder and say, like, "Are you hurt? What happened here?"
I'm fine.
I know you're fine, but are you okay?
I am fine. What happened here is another matter. The general, I heard two voices in him. He might be possessed or something.
I see. There's a lot of death in this room. I see a lot of tragedy.
Shen, are you gonna say something?
Hi, you heard something? What was it saying?
It was saying to throw open the doors, throw open heaven's gate, and it was saying to kill all Imperial officers.
Oh,
Chuang,
okay.
examine the general. Xian, you as well. As in,
Yes,
like,
boss.
use your abilities. Because
Yes,
you have
boss.
more of those magical abilities than I do.
So yeah, let's just like sense some magic here. Like, is there anything emanating from the general?
Oh yeah, dark magic. Hella dark magic. Like magic that
So-
you've never felt before. As magic very similar to that of the well.
So I think Chong like feels that, but rather than kind of shy away from it like he had done earlier, where it's like, oh, you feel it and you run away from it. Chong leans into it. I'm gonna spend an AP and I'm gonna continue sensing magic, knowing that like we have vines and like maybe a snake at play. He feels that maybe we could follow that power and just kind of locate kind of its source.
Yeah. So you actually, as you reach out to General Chen, you actually could see all of his chi meridians. You could see his chi flowing through his body.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see a corrupting force emanating from the base of his neck.
And
That's
I think
such a cool image in my head.
I think it almost caused like a little bit of like soul pain.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, back of the neck, back of the neck, back of the neck. And he's like almost like wading through molasses as he walks towards the general.
Walk towards the general. You could actually see braided into, he actually wears, instead of wearing his hair in a tight bun, he actually wears it in a ponytail. And you guys see braided into the ponytail a red thread as it snakes down into his tunic, and you can see it actually runs out underneath his pant leg and it goes through the floor.
And I think there are no words. Chong just like points and like it motions towards it, but has no words or direction to go from here.
Mm-hmm.
So I see it now as well, since you pointed it out. And I look down at this shriveled piece in my hand. And I'll walk up and crouch down in front of the general.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to reach and take whatever was in his mouth out.
It's like, I'm sure it was like a cloth or something. You pull it out of his mouth and he kind of just like snarls at you. It's almost like animalistic at this point.
And I put a finger, the same finger that was bitten, just against his forehead, and I push him back.
You push it against him and nothing happens.
Do you hear it?
Are you saying that to him?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of looks and he goes, kind of acknowledges that he hears it.
What does it want?
Kind of just, his eyes are, he almost like he's looking down at your feet and he kind of looks up to you and he just says, chaos.
Power.
Chaos.
Control.
Chaos.
Has the sigil's time run out? Oh, sorry. Please continue.
Well, all of that can be happening. I'm going to reach out and then just kind of like grab, I guess, him like grab his hair.
Yeah.
And then just slam his head into the ground.
Oh, shit. Okay. I mean,
My
language.
God.
You slam his head into the ground, knocking him unconscious. The soldiers outside, you can see that be alive, screaming. You've knocked him unconscious against like the short tea table. You can see this thing coming out the back of his neck.
So I wonder if this counts as me fulfilling the desire.
Okay.
That you mentioned before that I felt.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see.
Potentially. My impression.
I think your impression might want you to take this thing for yourself. Maybe you might see him as unworthy if he just wants chaos and you want to control.
Okay. So he's knocked out and I'm just going to I'll start unbraiding it. No, I'm kidding.
You just rip it out if you want.
Yeah, I'll be tearing it out unless
you tear it out of the back of his neck. It pulls some flesh with it. and you're holding it in your hand, and you see it begins to like snake all around your hand, and the head actually like splits, and multiple heads kind of form around your hand as they snake across your arm.
Shen, are you okay?
I am steps forward, takes out his gen, and just slices through the other half of it.
You cut it off, and then all of it begins to shrivel around you, and it kind of cracks and falls off of Shen's hand. Shen, in an instant, you lose your composure and control over the sigil, and the sigil drops. Your urge to control is now gone. And as the sigil drops, you hear in an instant, you're hit by this wall of sound, and the soldiers rush in to the room, holding out their dagger axes at you. Several of them level crossbows on you. And you see Lieutenant General Bin and Commander Kai. They come in and they say they're both holding their weapons. They say, like, step away from the general.
Kayam holds up his Jin and his scabbard, both of which, he's got in the hilt, he's got some insignia of the Imperial Court, and the scabbard is also overlaid, and like puts it back in just to kind of reinforce that I am the thing, and says, well, by the authority of the Empress Shosha, I am taking command of this fortress. The general has been compromised, perhaps possessed by whatever that creature is in the well. Has he been anywhere near the well in the last few days?
Sometimes he likes to go there himself to get his bathwater.
Very well. Let's go and investigate.
All of a sudden you hear shouting coming from the hallway.
Oh shit. Okay.
You report! And a soldier, one of the Northern Cavalry, runs through the hallway, pushes past everyone. The ground tremors around the well.
I look to Commander Kai I look to Bin, actually, the Lieutenant General, and I say, do you recognize my authority? Will you gather up all your men and surround the well?
Kai kind of looks at your sword, and I'm assuming you have your command token, and he says, yes. Same with Bin, and they both look. And then the soldier who reported says, I'm bows to you, says, I'm Jiao Wei of the Northern Cavalry. You must. I excuse my. I don't mean to speak over you, commanders, but we must go downstairs.
Yep. So we're gonna get down there ASAP. Is basically, but like I shout orders to get all of everybody in this fortress around that well.
What about the general?
Bring the general, and I guess
bring the general.
Yeah, I guess somebody can carry him a little bit.
Yeah,
because I assume he's knocked out.
Lieutenant General Bin just throws him over his shoulder. He's like walking down the hallway with like this like swagger. As you make your way outside, you can actually you see Jing, the representative of the Minister of War. Yeah. He kind of looks and he says, "What is the meaning of this? What is going on?"
I don't break my stride, but I start talking at Jing and say, by the authority of the Empress Shosha, I have taken command of this fortress. Note that in your log to the commandant.
Kind of takes his like folding book. Okay, begins writing it down. All of a sudden, there's like this tremor. The ground shakes and the stone structure begins to crumble around the well.
Oh no! Oh no!
And everything begins to crack, and the ground all around you becomes uneven, as if it's about to like something underneath is like coming out of the ground.
Okay. I sort of shout orders for everybody to retreat from the cracks and to give it space.
Yeah, everybody stands back. They draw their weapons against whatever is potentially coming.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think
coming.
Chong
Yeah, go ahead.
Like is close to Kayam and kind of like leans in and whispers in his ear, This is the source. This is where it's coming from.
Very well.
And it stops. Then in an instant, something emerges from the ground. The head of a massive yellow, black, red, and green serpent rises out of the ground. It almost like rises out like a cobra, but it looks like a constrictor, like a python. As it rises as tall as the towers. It opens up its mouth like a snake might, except its fat tongue flops out of its mouth like big fleshy mass, and it falls to the ground, longer than a snake's tongue might be. As it falls to the ground, these roots snake out in an instant from its tongue, latching on to all the nearby soldiers. Can all three of you roll to make sure that you are able to either cut away, avoid, however you'd like, these roots? What'd you get, Amar? A 2. Okay. Steve got a 2 as well. Wait, did all
What?
three of you get a 2?
Yeah, legit.
Oh,
No.
the heck?
that's auspicious. I like that.
Oh.
Whoa.
It seems like maybe the snake wins in this scenario.
So this mass kind of falls to the ground, and
TPK.
the snake kind of rises out, and it fills the entire courtyard. And with its tail, whoosh, it smacks all of you with its tail. In a moment, all of you are stunned as these little tendrils from its tongue reach out and grab at your mind and every other soldier here, at least that are in the courtyard. They smash you. Everybody's going to take 4 damage.
Ooh, that's heavy. Our total
So-
HP for everybody at home is 10.
And it never goes above 10 in this game. This game is like very lethal. This thing smashes its tail across the entire courtyard, hitting all 3 of you and the soldiers who came out with you. Jing, who is writing, is killed instantly. A representative of the minister is dead.
Yeah, that's not good.
Smashes you up against the wall. The soldiers who are on the walls, they begin opening firing with their bows and their crossbows at this snake. All of you are like kind of stunned, but you manage to get to your feet. The soldiers all around you, you notice that having been hit, these tendrils kind of like seem to be retreating back to the fleshy mound, which is sucked back into the snake's mouth, and it hisses at you. What do you do?
I think so. As Chong is knocked to his feet, his like really thick glasses kind of like fall down a little bit, and that's where it's kind of revealed that if it was like a movie, like you could see first person. So Chong always sees spirits just kind of around, but when his glasses fall off, the world becomes blurry and basically like splotches, but the spirits remain clear. And I think he's looking around. Is there any spirit here that's dangerous or big that maybe like could strike a deal or like help him or something?
The only spirit you see is the spirit of Jing, the official,
Gotcha.
who was just killed.
Gotcha.
Who was just killed. He kind of looks and he's just like standing over his body, like.
So awkward.
This is bad. This is bad. This is
But
real
you
bad.
see this boss snake clear as day.
It's so big.
Yeah. So it hisses. Are any of you going to do anything? Otherwise, I will act.
I can do a thing.
What would you like to do?
So I did have my shield activated. So
Yeah.
I actually just took 1 hit point damage.
Mhm.
And sort of narratively speaking, the shield appears as kind of a shimmer, as if looking through like glass or ice. And this, when I took the tail of this giant snake in the chest, that shattered like glass. Didn't hurt, but it just sort of the shards disappeared. But the shield is now gone. But perhaps I recovered a moment before everybody else did.
I think so. Yeah.
I do 2 things. One is I pull out my GN. I pull out it looks like the top half of a dagger axe, but I grip like the short wooden part of it, and I speak incantations. In this case, I would sort of call on my vow of well, I don't actually have the vow ability, but basically, narratively speaking,
Mhm.
I'm calling on my vow of loyalty to Empress Zhou Sha, and the dagger axe handle extends out to a spear's length, and my sword, my Jian, erupts into lightning and starts crackling on the sides. And the idea is when the snake pulls the tail back after hitting us, sweeping after us, dig the hammer axe into him and just hang on for dear life.
Why don't you roll to do that then?
All right.
So you draw both of your weapons. The spear extends. I'm sure you adjust your grip, and you have your lightning Jian.
7. I rolled a 7.
A 7 is still a success,
Woohoo!
but it's a tough choice.
Yeah.
So you smash your dagger axe into the tail of the snake, and it pulls you along with you.
Yep.
But you're gonna drop your Jian.
Oh no.
So your lightning Jian falls and kind of like pierces the ground. There's this like crackle of electricity, and it actually sounds like thunder as it stabs into the ground. And now you're like holding on to the tail end of this bass snake as it's like whipping you around. You managed to get a good hold on it though, but you've lost one of your main weapons.
Oh, no.
Agatha, Steve, what's going on?
I think Shan is still horrified from what she did earlier. I don't think she's actually recovered from that. And when everyone started walking, she's also walking, but not actually really paying attention to what's going on, and then she gets knocked back.
Like
So I
ears
think
are
she's-
ringing.
Yeah, and I think she's just sitting there and on the ground and looking at everything and just overwhelmed.
Yeah, Chong.
I think knowing that Kayam needs that blade, I think Chong like gets up and like just starts making a beeline for that blade, somehow thinking that maybe he can return it and maybe this Kayam can save us all.
So you run towards the blade. At this time, all the soldiers kind of like spring into action and begin like slashing at the body of the snake. Others are shooting at it. Like a massive battle has erupted in the courtyard of this fort. You see Kayam is just like whipping around on the snake's tail. Kayam, I'm assuming you're like trying to climb your way up it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a jade dagger as well.
Mhm.
That I sort of pull out and just stick in. Surprisingly, every time I pull the jade dagger out, it looks as if the skin of the snake hasn't been penetrated at all. But anyway, I'm just sort of two-handing up the body.
Nice. So you like, because for the audience, a dagger axe actually looks like a spear, but it's got like another perpendicular sort of point on the side. So maybe you retract it and just like, yeah. You climb your way up the snake to the point where you're kind of on its neck, the neck area. You run along some of its body and you begin climbing up the snake. Steve, you're going to run and you're going to try to throw the sword.
So I'm gonna take the blade out of the ground.
Yep.
And rather than just throw it, this is going to be another use of telekinesis. I can see what Kaim's doing, just climbing up the body of the snake. And
Yeah.
I'm going to aim close to like where the head would be. So,
You're going to shoot this. You're going to shoot the sword.
Yep.
Okay. Give me. Ooh. Okay.
So this is really weird. So telekinesis.
this is
doesn't
where
let
you don't.
do it.
Yeah, but I love that. So we'll say telekinesis can let you do that because in the game it doesn't let you. But give it a roll.
Okay. So I'm just going to roll it. Got a 12.
Ooh, that's a flat out success. So
Yeah.
what does this look like?
So I think,
And it's going to deal 3 damage to the creature,
yeah.
which
So-
is a lot in Quest.
So Chong like takes that sword out and just like watches. And as the snake's thrashing around,
Mhm.
Chong doesn't have his glasses on, and he just like sees the snake clearly, but focuses on Kayam and just really, really focuses on his form and his body and his spirit, and just tries really hard to just be close to it. He opens up his heart, he opens up his mind, takes a deep breath, and then just trusts. And he throws it as hard as he can.
Yeah, you hold it out before you. It kind of like floats in your hands. You throw it, and this lightning Jian flies through the air, almost like a lightning bolt. and it pierces the snake's neck right at the base of its skull, and it cries out. And as it cries out, its tongue actually falls out of its mouth and lands on the ground. Kayam, you can actually see this lightning Jian at the base of its like jaw, essentially, as you're making your way up. Shen, by now you might have recovered. You hear like thunder and you see a lightning bolt shoot out of Chong's like hand, it looks like. What do you do? And this tongue has fallen out of the snake's mouth.
I scramble back and up, and I bite my thumb again, and I'm going to I draw this time. It's a very quick. So I don't think I have a weapon. I think I draw the symbol for maybe say Dao or something.
Okay.
And then I say go, and I'm going to say it again. So I'm using rebuke.
Yep.
Which is.
Yeah, so you're gonna basically knock a creature.
Well, what happens is actually there's like a clone of me that appears.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of rushes at the snake and knocks its head back.
Ooh. So what you actually do is you shoot this spectral version of yourself. It flies through the air, kind of like in like a wuxia movie, like. Flies through the air. It flies through the air like a wuxia movie, and actually strikes the creature in the head. But there's this sword in its neck, and as you strike the creature in the neck, the sword pierces its head and pins it up against one of the guard towers. Stone rains down over the courtyard. Its soldiers dive for cover, and the snake is kind of like pinned up against the guard tower. It takes 1 damage. Chaim, what are you gonna do? I don't have a chance to react, so this is perfect.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so is this a killing blow situation, or
this could be a killing blow situation? What do you want to do?
What I would like to do is use a sneak attack, which once per round, when a nearby foe attacks a creature other than you, you may exploit their focus. So it didn't attack, but it was just maybe distracted by the attack that Xian made.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to spend 1 AP to make a basic attack on them, and what I would like to do is run up the head, jump, grab the handle of the sword, and just like zipper down on its neck, just like ear to ear, take it out.
So you run up the side of it. Honestly, I think you would you stick your dagger axe into it. You stick your jade dagger into it and use them as footholds. You push off of them. Yep. And you run up the side of its back, you grab the sword and you slide back down. As you slide down, maybe you collect the jade with your teeth and then the spear. You slide down, zippering down this boss snake, and its entrails spill over the entire courtyard as you land. And as you land, there's the sound of thunder as you land on the ground. And entrails shower all over the the soldiers who are in this court. Yeah. All over you. Now, unfortunately, we've run out of time in our stream. But that being said, if you maybe want to see this story continue, if you want to know what happens, what is the fallout of this battle with the Ba Snake, you could check us out, the Asians Represent podcast, for free on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We stream our main series once a month at twitch.tv/AZNSrep. We also do a variety of weekly streams, like our read-through of Legend of the Five Rings on Fridays. We have a monthly stream that Amar hosts the third Saturday of every month, where Amar and his great cast, they read through Al-Qadim Arabian Adventures and provide critical analysis. Before we end, we have 1 minute left. Where can everyone find you on the internet? And of course, folks, thank you for tuning in. Steve, where can people find you on the internet?
Easiest way to find me is on Twitter. You can find me at DEEM Steve. That's DM Steve phonetically.
Amar?
The easiest way to find me is also on Twitter at Amar Ijaz. Probably the easiest way to find that is go to the at AZNS Represent Twitter, and I'll be linked there.
Agatha?
And you can find me also on Twitter at Mighty Shrimp.
Double
mining
wise.
was too wise.
Yeah. And of
Too
course, you could find
wise.
me on Twitter at Daniel H. Kwan. You could find everything Asians Represent on Twitter and YouTube at AZNS Represent. On Twitch, we are AZNS Rep. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic Gen Con. Stay safe. And if you have any questions, please feel free to find us online and ask us. Thank you for tuning in.